What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of my best bets on this upcoming 3-game slate on the WNBA. Before we jump into it, let's do a quick recap on yesterday's video. But instead of boring you with words, how about I just show you? Boom! Check that shit out. 3-0 on the picks. And man, some of y'all trust me too much, or you have too much money to play with. So one of the VIP members sent me in these two slips. They cash it out on chalkboard. But if you're going to bet like this and play DFS apps or parlay it all together, you'd be much better off doing it on Dabble. Now, Dabble would have paid 6x on this 3-man, which would have gave him a return of $12,000 instead of 9.2. So sign up to Dabble today and get free money when you sign up. The link for that is in the video description below. VIP hit on all these bets. Plus, we hit on a value play of Kennedy Carter and for Jackie Young. So made a bit of profit there. So pretty happy with how the day went. Now let's jump into it. Fever versus the Dream. Let's go. All right, doing how we always do. Jumping straight into Outlier. It's my go-to tool to find all of these player props. If you're interested in checking out Outlier for yourself on a 7-day free trial, there's a link for that in the video description below. Now, I do like this game. I've got a couple of good looks in this one, in my personal opinion. The first one I wanted to share with you all is Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell's been a walking bucket as of late, but I particularly like her three-pointers made market. So over 2.5 three-pointers made for Kelsey Mitchell. Now she's cashed this in 6 out of her last 10. Post the Olympic break, she's hit this in 2 out of 3 games. 6 against the Mercury, 5 against the Storm, but only 2 against the Lynx. Now she's up against the Dream today. And the Dream, they do have a bottom 5 defensive ranking defending spot-up shooters. They also allow the 4th most three-pointers attempts in the league. Now, against teams which fit this profile, which are the Mystics, the Dream, and the Mercury, Kelsey Mitchell's covered this line in 7 out of 8 games this season. Most recently in that matchup against Minnesota, didn't shoot very well at all. 2 from 10 from deep, but I love back in high-volume shooters after a poor game. Now, the last time these teams met, the Dream, they double-teamed Aaliyah Boston heavily in that game, and that's because she torched them in the very first run this season. If they run the same strategy, I can see Mitchell having plenty of good looks from the perimeter in this one, so give it to me. Over 2.5 three-pointers made for Kelsey Mitchell. Staying in the same game, same team, we're looking at Nalissa Smith, and we're looking at under 7-point rebounds in this game. Now, she's only hit the under in 6 out of her last 10, and if you look at the season data, 48% hit rate to the under. Why do I like this play so much? Well, being honest with you, this play is purely based on minutes and opportunities. Now, the Indiana Fever, they've welcomed back Dantas and Fag Benlay in their last 2 games, which adds a lot more depth to their front court. Now, since they've returned, we've seen Nalissa Smith get a massive drop in her minutes. Let me show y'all. On the season, Nalissa Smith averaging 25.9 minutes per game. If we look a little bit closer into her last 10, averaging 25.8. But if we look at her last 2 games, reduction down to 20 minutes. And then most recently against the Lynx, only 10 minutes played. Now, a lot has to do with their front court getting more players into the lineup. So minutes are going to be shared. Now, since they've returned, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. You know that. Now, Nalissa Smith would actually hammer this home because I was like, is this just a once-off thing? But no. Nalissa Smith went on Instagram. She made a post, captioned it as "shit happens." And that's in response to her having her playing time cut. Now, I checked the numbers in 7 games this season where she's played less than 21 minutes. Check this out. Boom. 7 games, less than 21 minutes. She's gone under this rebound line in all games, averaging 4.4 rebounds. Now, she's up against a Dream team that's pretty bad, I'd say, at limiting rebounds to forwards. They limit them to centers, but they do give them up to forwards, but I'm not overly concerned here. If Nalissa Smith does see the big reduction in minutes like I'm predicting and like we have seen recently, then it's going to be difficult to get 7.5 rebounds. Like I said, she's hit 7.5 rebounds pretty much at a 50% rate this season, and that's playing her full complement of minutes. Now that she's got the reduction, and now she's confirmed it on Instagram, she should get 10 to 15 minutes, I hope. And when she does, she'd be going under. Now, she's played the Dream twice this season. In those games, 5 rebounds and 9 rebounds. Now, in the game where she hauled in 9 rebounds, let me show you what she did. 32 minutes of action. The previous game where she got 17 minutes, that's probably what I'd be expecting in this game. She only finished with 5 rebounds. So hopefully my prediction is right. If she plays 30 plus minutes, I'm fucked and I look like an idiot. But hopefully things go the way that I think they do, and she goes under this 7.5 rebound look. It looks like a great look to me. Staying in the same game, we're looking at Ryan Howard. Over 2.5 3-pointers made. Now, if we check her numbers, she's hit this in 5 out of her last 10. Post the Olympic break, she's hit this in 3 out of her last 4. Now, the matchup here against the Fever is excellent. So the Fever, they do have one of the worst defensive ratings in the league. They actually allow the fewest points in the league when it comes to points in the paint, but they allow the second most three-point attempts and the most three-pointers made to guards this season. So I've crunched the numbers here for Ryan Howard. And against the teams who allow the most three-point attempts and rank in the bottom half of defending above the break, Howard is over this line in 5 out of her last 7 games. She's played the Fever once this season. She cashed in 6 three-pointers in that game from 10 attempts. Now, I don't expect her to shoot 60% from deep in this particular game, but the volume is excellent. Even if you look at her volume as of late, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Since the Olympic break, she's had 9, 8, 13, and 11 three-point attempts. Now, she's up against a team that gives up the most three-pointers, so give me the chucker to go over today. I'm just expecting her to just throw it up from deep. She'll probably take about 10 three-pointers, and at minimum, she's going to make 3 of them. So give me Ryan Howard, over 2.5 three-pointers made. This is a plus money play once again. We did bet this in our last game against the Mercury and cashed, so hopefully in a very similar type of matchup against the Fever, Ryan Howard can make it rain. All right, jumping into the next one, we've got the Liberty versus the Sun in this one. Liberty, pretty disappointing in their loss against Connecticut, whereas the Mercury, they bounced back to beat the Dream. Play that I'm looking at here is for Diana Taurasi. Where's my girl? Here she is. And I'm looking at over 22.5 PRA. Pivot, if you don't have access to the points, rebounds, and assist market, would be just to take the over in points. I think it's at 14.5. Now, if we just looked at outliers data, it's going to tell us here in terms of the matchup, the Liberty allow the 3rd fewest points, 4th fewest assists to guards, but they do allow the most rebounds. Not really helping us get this PRA number down. If you look at Diana in the season, she's hit this at a 62% rate, which is pretty good. But again, we've got to factor in that she does have a difficult matchup today, so the line might be a little bit lower. So she's averaging 22.8 points, rebounds, and assists this season. So it appears like this line is just right. You know what I mean? Well, I haven't got a bet wrong on Diana Taurasi that often this season. And that's because I find her trends and her play quite predictable. Now, here's why I like Diana today. Despite only hitting this line at 62% of games this season, Diana at home is a different fucking beast. Let me show you. Check it out, boys. At home, Diana Taurasi has covered this PRA in 10 out of 11 games, averaging 28 points, rebounds, and assists. So there's a Mercury crowd. They absolutely froth over Diana, and that gets her nice and fired up. She's already played the Liberty twice this season. Check this out. It is 18 PRA when they played their first game. That was in New York. Then when they went and played at home in Phoenix, she had 33 points, rebounds, and assists. The Liberty are a strong defensive team, but where they rank in the middle of the pack is in the pick and roll, which also happens to be where Diana scores a lot of her points. So the strategy here for Diana Taurasi is simple. I'll share it with you guys. Just back her at home every single time, and then you're sure to be profitable by the season's end. And if you want to get risky with it, back her under when she's on the road. Simple as that. But I'm liking Diana Taurasi over a PRA. If you don't have access to the PRA, I think 14.5 points is a nice shot. Staying in the same game, looking at Jonquel Jones here. Now, she did kill me last time. I took her over the 9.5 rebound. She finished with 8. Pretty disappointing, really. But I'm looking at the over in her points prop today, 13.5. Now, you're probably looking at this graph and you're thinking, why the hell would you bet that? Like, she's under this in 7 out of her last 10, meaning she's only hit it 3 times. She's only averaging 11.9 points, but you're looking at 13.5 for Jonquel Jones. Well, I've looked into play types, matchups, and that sort of the thing, and Jonquel Jones stands out to me. So she scores a lot of her points. She either gets to the rim or she spots up from outside. She also loves this matchup with Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner doesn't move her feet very well, and she's quite hesitant to defend the perimeter. If we look at her matchups against Griner and the Mercury, you can see here that she scored 20 and 17 points in the 2 games this season. What's also interesting to note is in these matchups, she took 6 3-pointers in both of those games. And keeping in mind, she only shot the ball 11 times in both of those games, which means more than 50% of her shots have come from the outside, showcases her willingness to let it fly. Now, when we talk about the Phoenix Mercury and their defense, they are dead last at defending three-pointers above the break. And whilst they will defend Sabrina like their lives depend on it, the same can't be said about Jonquel Jones. So the three-point market, you might even want to look at her for over 1.5 three-pointers. I don't necessarily have access to that, so I'm just looking at her points prop here. Now, Jonquel Jones, against teams in the bottom half of the league in defending spot-up shooters and defensive rating, Jones is above this line in 11 out of 14 games, averaging 17 points per game. So she's not going to absolutely beast it, drop 20 points on you with just layups, right? For Jonquel Jones to really cover these numbers well, she's got to shoot well from deep. Means she's got to get the attempts up, and she needs to convert them at a decent rate. I don't think she's going to be shy letting it fly here. Brittany Griner is going to give her those threes all day. So give me Jonquel Jones over 13.5 points. Lastly, we've got the Mystics versus the Storm. Now, I'll be straight up with you guys. I don't think I'm going to play any straight bets for this particular game, but I have two plays that I was very close to betting, so we can call them leans. I might put these into a parlay and bet a small amount on it, but I wanted to share these insights with you anyway. So the first play that we're looking at here is Shakira Austin, and we're looking at over 20.5 points and rebounds. Now, Shakira Austin, she's still on a minutes restriction coming back off that hip injury. It's hovering around 20 minutes. Maybe a little bit more, but for the most part, you can expect 20 minutes from her. She's been a beast lately. 21, 33, and 25 points and rebounds over her last 3 games. Against this same matchup against the Storm not too long ago, less than a week ago actually, with Shakira Austin overs in her last matchup, and she smashed out 24 points and 9 rebounds. So the matchup for this one is fantastic. The Storm allow the second most points and the second most rebounds to the center spot. Now, if we think about play type and how Shakira Austin gets her work done, she scores in the pick and roll. And part of the reason why we bet this last time is that the Seattle Storm team, they are the worst team in the league at defending the pick and roll. So no surprise to see her absolutely smash out 24 points. Now, the risk in this play is that these teams squared up less than a week ago, and given her strong performance, the Storm may make some tweaks on defense. So that's my main hesitation. This isn't necessarily a back-to-back set. They played less than a week ago. Surely there's going to be some adjustments made. If not, she's going to absolutely feast on them. Now, the next lean that I have in this game is for Onyeka Onwuemeke. I actually practiced saying her surname before I recorded this, and I forgot how I was supposed to do it. But I'm looking at over 16.5 points. Very close to betting it, but haven't. And looking at her form over the last 10 games, nothing really stands out. But this matchup against the Mystics is ideal. Now, in terms of play style, Onyeka, she scores a lot of her points from spot-up shooting in the mid-range, but also from 3. Now, both of these categories is where the Mystic rank towards the bottom of the league at defending. The Seattle Storm don't necessarily have a lot of spot-up shooters outside of Onyeka, so she's got the best matchup. She's covered this line in both games against the Mystic this season. Let me show you. 19 and 24 points. She's actually covered it in 4 straight games against them if you include games last year. Now, part of the reason why she thrives in this matchup is this season up against them, her key defender here is Stephanie Dolson, who's somewhat limited as a defender, especially on the perimeter. Now, she doesn't move her feet very well, and because she's usually playing the 5, she often helps at all the drives in the paint, leaving Onyeka open for some wide-open threes. Key reason for that is because Shakira Austin's on the court, very mobile. Ezzy Magmador is going to be the one spending her time with her. They'll kind of be dancing around together, which means Onyeka and Dolson to be matched up. And Dolson, as big as she is and as great as she is at shooting, playing defense on someone like Onyeka, it's not a good matchup for her. So I can see both this Onyeka play and this Shakira Austin play happening. My main concern is that they played 6 days ago. And if I was the coaching staff of either team, it would be like, we're going to shut down Onyeka from scoring, and we got to sort this pick and roll defense out so Shakira Austin doesn't eat us alive. So they're my key hesitations, but I might put them together for a parlay and then just bet a little bit less. At least that way there's not much risk. But look, I wanted to share these with you. You might find them interesting, and who knows? Sometimes it just history repeats itself, right? So it could definitely still happen. If you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comment section. Give me your best bet for tomorrow. Let me know what it is, and if you're feeling generous, let me know why you like it. But I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.